Good morning. We are back live in the studio, not live, recording. It's Friday, April 24th, 2020. I want to recap some of the main highlights out of chapters 20 and 21, the end of book 2 of What is the What. Give you some reminders of things you've got going on in this class over the next few days, including beginning book 3 and some of the project that you've got going on. And then go over today's quick write. My goal, which I do not usually meet, is to make this relatively quick. I will do the best I can. I've got my Browns hat on in honor of draft stuff happening this week and weekend. And we'll see if they don't foul it up like they usually do. Anyway, let me hit at the beginning here with chapters 20 and 21. There are 4 or 5 main areas I want to hit without doing sort of a complete chronological review. But first, Pinudo. Much of, other than the depressing sort of beginning of book 2, where you've got this heavy ending of book 1, they go through all this turmoil to get to Ethiopia, and they get there, and it's not the promised land that certainly William Kay had been discussing and that Achak had been hoping for. But then a lot of book 2 is relatively light and calm. Pinudo develops as a camp. Again, this is all within the context of life being kind of cruddy, meaning they're torn from their homes and they're separated from their families, and they've seen a lot of brutality and death and poverty. But in Pinudo, you have a group. Achak has himself and his 11. Schools are developed. He's doing a great job in school. He becomes the star student for Mr. Kandit, which helps him meet Mr. Kandit's nieces, the royal girls of Pinudo. And there's some lightness. The boys joke around. They have these days where you rotate who the cook is for that day. When you're a cook, you basically have the day off, and you get a cook, but you don't have to go do the work. And things have been relatively calm. That all sort of shifts in the back end of chapter 20. The SPLA becomes more and more of a presence in the camp. They have these assemblies, and at first they're all sort of patriotic rallies. John Garang, the leader of the SPLA, is there. But pretty soon, the camp changes from just a refugee camp with UN and other help to set up schools and feed the Sudanese refugees to basically an SPLA training camp. And in the day, it kind of operates like a refugee camp with the schooling and that sort of thing. But by night, it's a training camp, and things get rougher for the boys. And the boys are constantly, I think this kind of fits well with what we have learned or been reminded of during this coronavirus pandemic, where you've got people who are often ignored by society and certainly not compensated well, who are all of a sudden essential. Stocking shelves at stores, working as cashiers, working on farms. I think society has now a greater appreciation for that sort of day-to-day tough work. But you can see in the camp, who is it that does all the hard and dangerous work? It's not the adults, and it's not the SPLA leaders. It's the unaccompanied minors, the lost boys. You go out in the woods and get firewood. You build this house for some SPLA commander, or build an outhouse, and they've got all the bad jobs. So camp turns rougher. There's this really dreadful scene where they have an assembly and they bring in 7 traitors, and at least supposed traitors, and they're executed in front of the boys. And so things get dark. And then one day, as Achak is walking back from church, he can see chaos happening. It's back, and there's a note from the remaining 9 of the 11 saying, "See you at the river." He goes to the river, and there's just chaos. And there's a little bit of confusion here, potentially, I think, for a first-time reader of the novel. Basically, what happened is, remember, Pinudo is in Ethiopia. The Ethiopian government has been overthrown. There's a new group in charge. That group does not want these 40,000 Sudanese camped out on Ethiopian soil. And so they move in to push them out. And that just encourages the local tribe that was already there, the Enuak, to pile on as well, because they've never really liked this group of Sudanese living there. And you get this really bloody scene at the Gilo River as Achak and the other boys are trying to get across. Many of them can't swim, and they're being just shot at in the water. And who arrives to help Achak? None other than my personal hero, Duke Majuk, shows up. And he helps Achak across the river. And then in another surprising turn of events, while they are sort of waiting in the grass for nightfall to try to move on, they come across Asha. And so at this point, Dude says, hey, you guys are together. I'll see you at Parshalo, this other camp they're going to go to. And Dude leaves them, and I'll come back to that in a second. But Asha and Achak eventually move on to some scary scenes. A woman claiming to say, who's shouting out to these boys, I am your mother, come to me. And she's an Ethiopian soldier and shooting them down. So it's a really chaotic, bloody, depressing scene at the end of chapter 20. Chapter 21 involves Achak's walk to, there's sort of dual walks going on. His walk through the night in Atlanta. He decides to leave Piedmont Hospital and go home. He's been there 14 hours. He's never been treated. He's had the MRI, but they've never followed up to actually provide treatment. So he walks home. At the same time, he now describes a year that he says is the worst year. And it's kind of hard to imagine that it would be the worst year. And you don't get a lot of detail about it. But it's the worst year. And it's this year between Penudo in Ethiopia and Kakuma, the camp in Kenya, which will occupy a good chunk of book 3. But it's described as a really tough year. So you've got this shift from sort of some level of stability and lightness in Penudo to chaos and back on the road again. You have more nicknames. I like the nicknames. So they're described. The boys are called Seeds because they'll be the seeds of the new Sudan. Mr. Potential Food shows up on the scene. Commander's Secret. A guy always tells him, hey, man, if the UN people ask you anything, you don't say anything. You're just a Sudanese refugee. You don't know anything about the SPLA. At the end of chapter 20, there's this sort of frightening moment where Asha and Achak are in charge of a baby they call Quiet Baby. And then in chapter 21, just kind of on the identity idea, this new name comes in where Achak is referred to as Dominic by the Newtons. They know him as Dominic. A couple of things I want to touch on in these chapters. One is the idea of loss, and many of you wrote about that earlier this week when you were writing about themes. You have several losses that Achak endures in this set of chapters. Moses, now he says that's the last I saw of Moses for a while, so we don't know the answer yet, but Moses goes off to a training camp at the end of chapter 20. He says that's the last I've seen of Dut Majuk after Dut helps him across the river. 4 of the 11 go off to an SPLA training camp and later die in the Civil War. Asha in chapter 21 gets separated from Achak. Achak thought he was dying, and he just left him sort of in an aid tent. He didn't think he could watch his best friend pass away, so he walked on with another group. And of course, Tabitha, we learn in chapter 21, is killed by her Sudanese boyfriend in Seattle, who then commits suicide. And that's just a terrible scene. She's trying to reach Achak during the day and never gets a hold of him because he's at this convention and he's trying to ignore his phone and be an attentive American instead of constantly on the phone, and misses her call for help. Not that he could have done anything because he was thousands of miles away, but you have a lot of loss. A couple other motifs that come up often in What is the What that I want you to think about. And motifs are not necessarily symbols, and they're not themes. They're sort of recurring images that sort of reinforce themes. One is eating, actually, because he talks about the Sudanese turning to eat on themselves when there's a split in the SPLA, and that comes up with the elephant meat and some other scenes. Running, there's a lot of running, obviously walking in circles comes up. So, and then this is the idea of needing help. He mentions this in chapter 22, that how sort of exhausted he is of needing help. So just think about those motifs, how they reinforce the themes that are presented in the novel. The quick write today is on credibility. How does Eggers create credibility? You guys wrote about themes earlier this week. You wrote thesis statements. What about his tone, style, diction helps build the novel's credibility, helps the reader believe the story being told and maybe be persuaded by one of the themes in the novel? Your yourname.org paper drafts are due Monday night. I plan to do peer review for you to do peer review on Wednesday, so please get your draft in on time. Fourth quarter midterm is upon us today. If you have anything marked missing, get that in, or it will turn to zeros over the weekend, and that would be a bummer. We will do 3 hangouts next week if we can: Monday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, Friday afternoon. And I've attached again both the reading schedule and the overview document for the yourname.org project to this post. I hope everyone is safe and healthy and happy as you can be during a pandemic. If you have any questions, please email me. And again, hope you're doing well. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Generals. Bye-bye.